Hello everyone and welcome to this Dotloop training webinar. We'll be talking about managing your online transactions through Dotloop. We call this quick start training because we're going to keep it under an hour. We're going to talk about a lot of topics, but we're not going to be able to break it into all the detail that you might want. A typical on-site in-person training session with a lot of detail will take around 3 hours, and the goal of this webinar is not to tell you every single thing that you need to know, but rather to give you the high points to get started and also the tips and tricks to find out where the rest of that information is on your own. So I want to give you some talk about ways that you can find answers as you're going, because there's no way that we're all going to remember everything that's said on today's webinar. That's not the goal. The goal is to teach you how to get started, how to find your way as you start creating your first listing or making your first offer using Dotloop. So first things first, support.dotloop.com is the website that you can go to find more videos or more information on whatever topic it is that you're looking for. So today we're going to talk about, for example, towards the end of the training, a new feature called Easy Offer, and coincidentally we have another webinar later today that will talk about that as well. However, if you need more information, you can go to support.dotloop.com, and that link is all over your home page when you're logged into Dotloop. So you can just find the Learn More button or the Training Center button, and that will take you to support. Also, 888-Dotloop is our phone number. You can always call our staff here, and they're more than willing to walk you through or give you more information on whatever topic it is that you're looking for. And then we're also on Facebook on the Dotloop user community. So if you're on Facebook and you like to join those groups, this is a good one. This one is ran by us. Over 5,000 of our users on there commenting and helping each other out with specific scenarios or unique ways to use Dotloop. An overview of today's training. The first thing we're going to do is talk about logging in, of course, and then we're going to make an offer. So we'll create one loop or transaction where we're representing the buyer, and then we'll create another loop later on where we're representing the seller. And it'll be a bit of a recap of what we learned on the offer side with some tips and tricks for managing listings. And then whatever time we have left at the end, to keep it under an hour though, we're going to give you some extras. So to start off with making an offer, if you don't have a Dotloop account yet, just we're going to take 30 seconds to show you how to create that. If you're already an existing user, I'm going to throw in a tip here that might save you a support call in the future. So this is good for everyone. And then once we get logged in, we'll talk about the two different types of documents. So Dotloop templates, or another way to put that, the documents that have been made available to you by either your brokerage, association, board, or MLS by way of the Dotloop system. Okay, so we have editable templates in certain regions, in certain states. And you can always call our support department to see what the status of that is in your area or in your region. Or you may already have Dotloop templates in your library, in which case we're going to talk about those today, how to use the autofill to auto-populate those documents, how to use the integrated e-signatures. Now, for those of you who may not have templates, or actually for everyone, because I haven't created a loop yet personally where I haven't edited a PDF that I've uploaded from outside of Dotloop. So whether it's a title company or a lender or the other agent who sends you some sort of PDF that needs to be modified or signed by your client, then we have an editing tool, and I'm going to show you how to use that. So just be aware as a beginner, if you are a beginner, that there are two different types of documents. Now this webinar today is not just for beginners. I am going to throw some advanced tips in there, but I'll let you know when I'm doing that. And then finally we'll talk about client e-signing on the offer side. So I want to show you what it looks like for a client to e-sign a document. Now to get started, to log in, you go to dotloop.com. So just type in www.dotloop.com in your URL in your browser there, and you'll hit our landing page where you can sign in if you're an existing user or sign up for free if you're a new user, and you'll just type in your name and your email and password and select the role, realtor agent typically, and then you'll click Start My Free Trial. Now, Start My Free Trial does not mean that we're going to take away your account after 2 weeks. It means that we're actually giving you an upgraded, what's called premium level of Dotloop features and services. And after 2 weeks, you'll just be dropped down to the free version. So you'll always be able to use Dotloop. Your first 2 weeks, just you're bumped up to a premium trial. Now, if you already have, again, if you already have an account, just click sign in. And the tip that I'm going to give you right here that might save you a support call one day is if your client has already signed a document and they call you after a week and you've shared a second document with them and they say, I forgot my password, you can do a few things. You can always call support and they'll probably just tell you what I'm about to tell you. Or you can just handle it on your own. And what I would do is I would go to this landing page here where you sign in. I would type in my client's email. I would click forgot password and I would follow the prompts. And the prompts are going to result in an email being sent to your client for them to reset the password. So, you know, the support tip for the day for this webinar is if your client forgets their password, just run through the prompts for them by clicking that forgot password link, and then you can solve that issue on your own. Then text or call your client and say, check your inbox, there's a reset password link. Okay, much easier than calling support. There's really no reason to call support at that point. Now, once you're logged in, or once you've created an account, you're going to land on your home page, and it's going to look like, it's going to be what's called the grid view here. So all of your transactions will be in a grid. If you don't have any yet, you'll have a plus sign and a sample loop. But once you start creating listings or making offers on properties, you'll have one of these little loops, these transactions for each client or set of clients that you're representing. Now, if you're like me, eventually you're going to switch to what's called the list view, and these are all still the same transactions, but they're listed vertically, more like an email inbox. And there's a couple benefits to getting used to viewing your page this way. Number one, you always see the loop name presented here. You have the ability to change your transaction type and loop status from the home page. We can define that later, but just take my word for it. That's a nice thing to be able to do. And you can also use the search bar to find, you know, whatever loop you're looking for. So all of those features are only apparent on the list view. If we go back to the grid view, which is this toggle switch over here, you'll see that if a picture's been added to the loop, you have to hover over it to see the loop name. You'll see there's no search bar, and really there's no ability to change anything about this loop from the home page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to the list view, and I'm just going to train from this today because I recommend it. I think you'll like it too. Now, before we create our first loop, and again, our first loop, we're going to represent the buyer. We're going to make an offer on somebody else's listing. I want to talk about this bar up top. This entire blue bar is the global navigation bar. So you're going to have, if you're a premium user, which means your office has provided you with a premium account or you're paying for it on your own, then you're going to have this extra dashboard section, and this is a chart section that kind of shows you your performance. So total sales year to date, how many loops you've created each month, and so on. This is kind of a visual into your own business there, and that's a premium feature. Now the rest of these everyone will have. The smiley face takes you back to your home page where you can see again all your transactions. So the smiley face or the Dotloop icon will take you back to the home page. The global task section, if you are utilizing tasks within a loop, so let me show you, let me open up Georgia Avenue here and show you the task section at the bottom of this loop. So now I'm inside of a loop. Each loop has a document section, where you can have multiple folders, a people section, a local service provider section, and a task section. So here's my new listing activities checklist, and I also have another task list in here. And the idea with the global task section is that all of these task lists from all of your loops get filtered up. I'm going to click on this here. Get filtered up to one global view, so I can go to my global task section and see everything that's assigned to me that's due today or tomorrow or the following week. And there's a link back to each loop here. So if I check these off here, it checks them off in the loop. So this is the global view throughout all your transactions, and that's if you decide to start using Dotloop's task management system. Now the global people section, similar to the tasks, there is a contacts tab on the left, and this will save anybody that you've added to a loop. So I've added, Allison Grant to a transaction before, and if I work with her in the future and start typing in Allison, it will auto-suggest her with her email address. There's also the Trusted Service Providers tab on the left. You can add any of your mortgage, home security, moving companies, attorneys, and these Trusted Service Providers will be auto displayed to your clients after they e-sign a document. So you're going to see, after I show you what it looks like for a client to sign today, how my service providers will be displayed as options for my client to connect with. Dotloop has national service providers that anyone can add right now. Quicken, Monotronics, Angie's List, and Moving.com. You can go in right now and click on Home Improvement and add Angie's List if you'd like to just provide that as an extra service or an extra company that your client might want to request information from. Now the global template section, this is where your Dotloop templates will exist. And by Dotloop templates, I mean if your office has made any documents available to you, or if you have attached yourself to your association or your MLS that is partnered with Dotloop, if they are partnered with Dotloop, then you can have interactive document templates available here. By the way, if you're a premium user, then you have the ability to create your own folders. So you'll just click New Folder, and you can create your own little listing packets or offer packets. And once you do that, they'll exist over here on the left. So these are my individual packets that I've built out so that when I create a loop, I don't have to go filtering through one big folder of documents that maybe my association made available to me. I just go in and grab my listing packet and go. And again, that was a premium feature that we're talking about there. Other things that you can do as a premium user, add and create task lists here, and you can also add clauses. And clauses will allow you to start typing a sentence. As long as you save and create your clauses, you can start typing your clauses when you're editing a document, and you'll get a drop down to where you can select your clauses and save some time typing there. Now the final icon in the global nav bar allows me to sign out or go to my account preferences or visiting the support site, so support.dotloop.com, and I also can see the support number right here, and this is your user ID. So if you do call support, have that ID ready and it'll help them help you faster. So let's go back to the home page by clicking on the smiley face, and let's create our first loop together. On the list view, it's the Create Loop button over here on the right, and when you start typing in, I'm going to recommend that you name your loops with the property address. So we're making an offer, and I'm going to start typing in, let's say 4600, and as soon as I start typing that in, we see matches. Some of these matches are coming from different places. For example, the one with the MLS number here, this means one of two things. Either this person is a Dotloop user, or this information is being pulled in from an MLS somewhere that has a data feed set up with us. This one means that this user is using Dotloop because, and they just didn't put the MLS number in, but they did make their listing searchable through Dotloop, and I can show you guys how to do that on this webinar. Now, if you keep typing in and you don't find anything that has an agent associated with it, but you see that these are powered by Google. What we're doing here is kind of a last resort, letting Google auto-suggest matches based on what you've typed in. And the benefit of finding a match here, okay, whether it's from Google or whether it's from another Dotloop user or whether it's from an MLS or RETS or data feed, is that by choosing one of those matches and saying create loop, that property address is going to populate into your document templates if you have those templates. So continuing along, let's say for the people who do have templates in their library, let's go ahead and show you how to auto-populate those. Okay, step one, I'm going to go down to my people section and just assign a few people and assign their roles. So my role is going to be buying agent, and this just tells the system where to populate my name into. So this is going to put my name throughout the documents that I add in the buying agent spots. I'm also going to click add person and add my client. So my client today is going to be Frank Jones. You can see I've worked with a few other Frank Jones in the past. This is a new one, so I'm going to add his email. And his role will be buyer. And that's all I need to do to set up auto-population of Frank's name into the buyer spots, and also to prepare for using e-signatures or sharing things through the loop to Frank. So each person that you add, if Frank has a wife, she'll need to have her own email address, and the reason that is for security purposes. To verify and validate each user's online identity, they need to have their own email, and that's the first level of security, is knowing their personal password to their email to get access to this link to e-sign these documents. So just make a mental note of that. You need an email address for each person, and if that becomes a problem with a couple, if you have two buyers in the future that share an address, then just offer up your help in creating a temporary email, and then they can never use it again after that transaction. So an easy conversation up front with your clients, and you can overcome those situations where maybe there's a couple that shares an email. Now you don't need to share it or send an intro email, so you don't need to check this box. You'll send your intro email when you actually share your first document. Okay, that will be your intro. And you don't ever add your clients to your team. So this is a premium feature anyhow, but you don't add your clients to your team, and seeing as how we're making an offer here, you definitely would not add the listing agent to your team. The only people that you ever add to your team are agents that you work with on the same side of the transaction. So if you don't have somebody that helps you out with your transactions, you're never going to add anyone to your team. So I'm going to add Frank. We're going to pretend like Frank's single, just one client today. I can add the seller's names and roles as well if I'd like. So if I wanted to add, let's say, Sally Seller, and put her role in as the seller, that's going to help me populate her name through the documents. Okay, and I can do the same thing with the listing agent. So just add all your people, and we'll go ahead and add Ben as the listing agent. And now we're ready to go up and add our documents. So in the document section of your loop, there is a folder. It will be created for you automatically. If you want to rename it, I want you to take a look at this drop down on the right. There are a lot of options in these little drop downs, so don't forget about this if you're a new user. I'm going to go ahead and rename mine just because I like to. I'm going to call it Offer Folder. Now I'm going to click Add From Templates. So notice, I'm not going up to my global template section to add documents to this loop. I'm going into a loop and I'm saying add from templates. I'm making a copy of existing packets that I've created or that my office has made available to me. So I'm going to click down here on my offer packet, choose a couple documents or select all if that makes sense for you, and then click add. If you just have one folder with all your documents in it, then you might just, it might be called version now documents or whatever your association is, documents, or whatever your brokerage is, documents. You'll just click on that and use your search bar. Okay, type in keywords to narrow down your search results to start filtering through those 30, 40, 50, 60 forms that you may have. And once you've added these documents, you have two options. You can click on the document name to open it up one at a time, or you can click the checkbox at the folder level and use your group actions, archive, copy to, open, and guess what? You can always print or download as well. But right now I'm going to open these up together and edit them all at once. So let's click open. And when you're using a template, an interactive document, you're going to have a pop-up that asks you to, if you'd like to assign signatures by role, and because we already told the system who's who, we can do that with a click of a button. But if you keep scrolling down, you'll also have the ability to give the system extra information about the property so that it helps you populate these documents. Now, we already pulled in the property address from a Google match, but if we want to go down and add license numbers or a purchase price, this purchase price and this earnest money and the contract dates, these will go ahead and populate throughout the document. So add in whatever information you'd like to autofill, click the autofill button, and all the fields that autofilled will first be highlighted in yellow. If you need to undo that, you can undo all the autofill. Anything that didn't populate or wasn't capable of populating, click in it and start typing. You can see as I start typing, it's suggesting some of my clauses that I've created, and I just showed you that a minute ago. You can set those up in your global template section if you're a premium agent. As we scroll down a little bit farther, the checkboxes are checkable. The date fields will have calendar functions, so I'm going to keep scrolling to try to see if there's a date field on here to show you. You'll notice, here's a date field. Click in the date field and we'll have a calendar function. You'll notice that all of the initials and signatures, wherever there would normally be a line to capture a written signature or initial, the e-signatures are already placed there. So you can click in that field and see that it's assigned to Frank Jones. And if there's ever a field that you don't want them to sign in, you can click in that field and assign it to no one. So just remember that you have complete control of where your clients can sign, and you'll want to double check that before you share it with your clients. Make sure that the places are assigned correctly, and anywhere you don't want them to sign, assign it to no one. Now, once you've reviewed your document and you've filled in all text fields, we're going to click Save or Save and Share. If you're ready to share this group of documents for signatures, you can go ahead and click Save and Share from this screen, and it will give you a pop-up asking you who you'd like to share with. Okay, so who you'd like to share with and what privilege you want to give that person. And then once you do that, you'll click Share. I'm not going to share this just yet because I want to go back and show you how to edit PDFs that you upload from outside of the system. So if you don't have these templates in your region, like I just went over, then you'll want to pay special attention to this part of the class. And even if you do have templates, you still want to pay attention to this part of the webinar because you will always be using the PDF editor. It has come in handy so many times. Sometimes I take a template and I convert it to a PDF using the Copy To feature, and I flatten some of my templates out as a PDF because I can do more with a PDF. I can drop extra signatures and extra initials with a PDF, and I just feel like sometimes I have a little bit more control. So don't forget about this Copy To feature as you start using Dotloop. If you ever feel like you're at a dead end and you can't do something that you want to do, try copying it as a flat PDF and using the tools that we provide to you. And those tools I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to click Add Document on the right, and I'm going to upload a PDF from my computer. So we just added templates from our template library. Now we're choosing a different document type. We're bringing it in from outside of Dotloop. This is a PDF. Now, this may be a PDF that some agent sent to you. This may be something that's just not provided in your template library, or this may be a PDF that you filled out using a different a different forms software, or maybe you handwrote the contract and scanned it up. Okay, it doesn't matter where it comes from. I'm just going to grab one from my computer for demonstration purposes. Okay, so ideally, I would have an addendum already in my library. So the fact that I'm grabbing this PDF from my computer, don't let that throw you off. This is just simply to show you how to edit a PDF once you're in a transaction that that needs that, okay, or that leads you to the point where you need to edit a PDF. So that's going to upload. While that's uploading, I'm going to scroll down to the task section and just show you that as a free user, if you'd like to click Add Task, you can create task lists for yourself or for your clients. Some examples of task lists that you might use: you might create a listing checklist for yourself if you're doing a listing. You might create a client move plan to suggest different moving companies and different activities that your client might want to think about when they start the move process. For example, a task to remind them to fill out a change of address form, or to switch the cable over, or to register for schools in the new area that they're moving to. So those are things that you can do, and you just start building that task list out right here. Change of address form. Okay, click enter, and that creates a task. Hire moving company. Okay, and you can actually paste different website addresses here, or just add the name of the company and a phone number. So okay, and we'll say moving.com. Okay, give this guy a call. Now, if you're premium, you can create a template out of this, so you don't have to recreate it every time. And you would just say load template, choose your client move plan, and say add. And then you can see I have a nice little client move plan built out here that I can, on the right, share to my client. And these links are interactive, so that if my client clicks on it, it will take them, in this case, to an IRS change of address form. Right, now, going back to our document there, I just kind of took a mini detour while we waited for this addendum PDF to upload. Now, I'm going to click on this PDF to open it up, and what you're going to notice that's different than the template that we just autofilled is that we don't get a pop-up asking us to assign signatures by role or to enter information to help autofill this document, because Dotloop doesn't know what this document is. It came from your computer. It's just a PDF image. So what we do is we give you the signature, text, and initials to make your own template, essentially. Now, if you're premium, you're going to have date, name, checkbox, radio button, some other options up here. But anybody can use, for free, signatures, text, and initials. And what I'd like to do is show you kind of the beginner level of editing PDFs, and then I will show you a support article that provides keyboard shortcuts for those of you who may have already edited a few PDFs and are looking for an advanced way to do them faster. So for the beginner PDF editing lesson, here's how it works. If you want a text box right here, you click on text box with your mouse. That will follow you around until you click to drop. Then you can start typing. If you type beyond the width of that text box, it'll drop down vertically. So what you're going to want to do is hover over the right-hand bottom corner and click and drag, and then let go to resize that box. And then the same thing goes for all of the other fields. If you need to move it around somewhere else, just hover over the bottom right-hand corner until you get the crosshairs and click and drag it into a different spot. I'm going to click on signature, That signature is going to follow me around. I'm going to click to drop, resize it, and now this is an important step. I want to click back in it and assign it to the right person, Frank. Same thing with initials. I grab an initial, click to drop, assign to Frank. And then we have, of course, checkboxes and other things, but they all work the same. So if you want to delete a field, to delete an initial or a signature, just click in it and the X is right here. Okay, I'll do the same thing on the signature. The X is right here. For a text box, when you click in it, it's going to be a little bit farther to the right because the text has more premium options for editing these fields. So the X is over here. All right, so it's very easy. You can edit any PDF, have anything signed, as long as it's a PDF that you've uploaded. Now what I want to do is the same thing, but give you some advanced ways to edit these PDFs faster. Okay, so if we go to support.dotloop.com and type in just the keyword key and press enter, we're going to find an article for document editor hotkeys. And you don't need to know these. So everything I'm about to show you is not something that you have to know. Okay, these are just, if you want to step your game up at some point, you can remember that these are there as things to learn and you can come back to it. So I use these all the time, second nature, because they really do make PDF editing faster for me. And here's the idea. The idea is that, if you're dropping many of the same fields, you can imagine it would take you a while to drop one and then go back and grab another one, click, and then go drop another one. So what we have built in are shortcuts. So here's the first one. Click Add Text or Add Signature, whichever tool you want. And then before you click with your mouse to drop it, hold the Shift key on your keyboard. Again, just press your finger on the Shift key and hold it for as long as you want to keep dropping text or signatures or initials. And you can go through and drop as many as you'd like. Okay? And then you can deselect it, or you can just press the Escape key and that tool will no longer follow you around. Now, using the Shift key once more, there's another shortcut. If I want to extend this box out to here, rather than finding that little arrow and dragging it over, I'm just going to click into that box, move my cursor to the right where I want it to end, hold the Shift key, and then click with my mouse right wherever I want it to end. Hold Shift and click, and it's going to zoom that right over to where I want it to end. So click in the box, move your cursor over, hold Shift, click with your mouse. Select the box, move the cursor, hold Shift, click with your mouse. Okay? So that's a very useful tool. And another one that's really easy is if you want to make small adjustments to the placement of this. So if I want this to rest right down on this line here, I'm going to click in that box, hold Shift, spin the same button every time. And then there's the little up, down, left, right arrows on your keyboard. Just use whichever direction to move it pixel by pixel. So just hold Shift, and then you can move that box pixel by pixel to get it dialed in right where you want it. And then the last keyboard shortcut that I am going to give you that I use a lot is the ability to duplicate a field of the same size. So let's say you drop a signature into this field and you resize it, you make it a little skinnier and then a little wider. Rather than do that all over again, I'm just going to click in this field, hold Shift, and then if you're a Mac user, it's the Alt Option key. So Shift and the Option key. If you're a PC user, it should be Shift and the Alt key. So you hold both of those down at once, and then you use the arrow key, left, right, up, or down, depending on where you want it. And that will continue to drop text boxes of equal size in whichever direction that you press. So that's something that you guys can play with on your own. I realize you may have questions, and it may be something that's a little more difficult to convey over a webinar, but just know they're there. You don't have to know them right now. You can edit PDFs without that, but everybody that I show that to in person loves it, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I'm going to go ahead and assign this to Frank, and I'll go ahead and drop an initial and assign that to Frank as well. And then we're going to save this document. And we're going to go back to the loop. All right, now we're ready to share these over to Frank for signatures. So if everything is being shared and everything only needs to be signed, then you can just checkbox everything and say share. But if you're being specific about the documents that you want to share right now, then just checkbox those. You can do it one at a time, or you can do it in a group. If you have more than one that needs to go at once, I would suggest doing it in a group. So let's do the addendum PDF and then the contract that was a template, and we'll click share. Now I showed you guys this screen once before. This screen is asking me to select a person to share these documents with, and it also wants a permission. So how can Frank interact with these documents? If I click on this on the right, I can give him view only, which just lets him look at it. I can give him sign, which allows him to e-sign in the assigned fields. And once he e-signs, it'll be shared back to me automatically. If this were a listing and I wanted him to fill out a seller's disclosure online, then I would give him fill and sign, because that would allow him to sign in the assigned fields but also type into every text box, and he would be able to check off the check boxes that pertain to his house on that seller's disclosure. And then the last one is edit in private. You shouldn't give this to your client. This is a permission that you give when you're sharing to another agent. So this is agent to agent. These are all things that you can give to your client. Primarily, it's going to be the can sign, unless you're doing a listing with something that the client needs to fill out, then you're going to use fill and sign. So right now, we're just going to do can sign. And we will go down here, and you can type an optional message if you want. This message will appear in the email that Frank receives. I'm going to leave it blank just so you can see what message we send if you don't type a custom message. And then this is the button that sends the email to Frank for him to sign. So let's click share, and we'll see that this pop-up becomes a confirmation screen, basically. And you can just click done, because Frank now has access, and there's the privilege that he has. By the way, here is the reshare button. So if the client says he didn't get the email, first thing I want you to do is go down to the people section and make sure you've typed in Frank's email correctly. Then you can go up, as long as that's correct, go up and checkbox the documents and click share again, and click the drop down to the right here and say reshare. All right. Now, what I'm going to do is switch to a different browser where I have Frank, my client's email pulled up, and I'm going to have to pretend now like I'm Frank. In order to show you the e-signing experience, we're going to go over to Frank's inbox. Here we are. And Frank should have received an email from you. He has. It says action needed. Hunter Morgan needs you to sign 2 documents. Here's the custom message, or here's the standard message that Frank, your client, will receive, unless you type a custom message before you share it. Then it'll be whatever you typed. So your client's going to click the View Documents link. It's going to open up a new window in whatever browser they're in, and it's going to take them right into the documents. So Frank will click Start Signing, and what I do with my clients is I set up a time to go over this contract. If we're doing it remotely, I'm going to set up a time in the afternoon to, call them and walk through it. So there is a scroll bar over here on the right, and I tell my client, all right, grab that scroll bar and let's just look this over first. And then once we get to the bottom, last page of the last document, I'll tell them, okay, either click in that Start Signing button or just click in the first highlighted field that you see. And what it does is it takes him through the document. The first place that he clicks in, so I'll say click in the highlighted field, and before he adopts and signs, this is his chance to add a middle name or a middle initial. Okay, so he can change his name. This does not change his name in the text box of the document. It changes what his signature appears as. Okay, if he wants, he can draw his signature here. All right, I'm going to go back to the type signature and just click Adopt and Sign. And now it's going to walk me through the rest of the fields. If he misses a field, you're going to see that we will recycle the document back to the one that he missed. So right now I'm going to click in what would appear to be the last page of the last document. It actually goes back up to the one that he missed. And now I'm going to tell my client, once they've signed everywhere, to click Confirm Signing. And that means they're done. So the document gets shared back to you, and now here's where your experience could be different. What's happening here is I've added trusted service providers, and it's asking my client if they'd like to request information on any of these. If you've never added any trusted service providers, then your client will see this. It'll say, you're done. These have been shared back with your agent. To keep a secure copy, sign up for Dotloop. It's free. So I'm going to tell my client, hey, create an email or create a password and remember your password, because you're going to be signing and reinitialing things for the next 30, 60 days throughout the life of this transaction. So this is what we're using. Create a password, please. If you're not comfortable with it, they don't have to. But the benefit to your client is that they get a place that they can log into at any time, see the documents, download the documents. If you've shared task lists, your task list will be in here for them to check off and complete, and they'll have this for the next 7 years. So I like to talk to my clients about those benefits when they ask about, what do I have to create a password, or why do I have to? First of all, the answer is they don't have to. There's just a lot of benefits in doing that. It's free. So have that conversation and lean them towards creating that account. Now, I'm going to go back to the agent account. So we're leaving Frank, the client's free Dotloop account that he just created, where he just signed those documents. And we're going to go back to the agent account. And I'm just going to reload my page here. And what you're going to see is in real time, these documents were automatically shared back to me. They're signed. And if I open up, let's just open up this addendum, you'll see date and time stamped, e-signatures and initials. All right, and here's the link to the verification page. If anybody ever asks you for a certificate of verification, you can click on that link, and it'll show you the date, time, IP address of where it was signed from, and so on. Now the next step is to get this offer over to the listing agent. So all you have to do now is checkbox the document like you did before, or Documents, click Share, and choose the listing agent. Give him the proper privilege, which would be can edit in private. Type an optional message. Here's our offer. If you've never used Dotloop before, try it out for free. Or I've also added a PDF copy to this email. Just scroll down. So if you're a premium user, you can click Show Options, and you can also just attach a PDF copy, which is what a lot of agents out there are used to receiving. So again, that's a premium feature, but if you don't know how the other person likes to work, you can always give them Edit in Private, which allows them to use Dotloop for free with e-signatures with their client to collaborate with you, which is ideal. Or you can also, kind of give them the best of both worlds. If they want a PDF, just shoot a PDF off. So we click share, and this listing agent gets invited to the transaction. And by the way, all this activity that you have been doing is tracked in your activity log. So if it's ever questioned, whether or not you sent something to someone, it's right here. Date and time stamped in your activity log. You shared that contract with Ben. And it's going to show you when Ben views it. So when he clicks on that to view it, it'll show you. Okay, so let's leave that offer where it is. Okay, we're gonna kind of recap by putting a listing together, but I'm gonna give you just the high-level tips and tricks for managing listings, and then I'm gonna let you guys run with what you've learned today. So, smiley face takes us back to the home page. We have a new client now. This is a seller. This is a listing. So we're going to create a loop, and we'll do the same thing we did before. Start typing in the property address, and I'm just going to find a Google match once more. Click Create Loop. And following the same steps that we did before, go to your People section, make sure you're assigning your role. The listing agent role is going to be important for some other cool features that listings offer here on Dotloop. I'm going to bypass adding a bunch of fake sellers here because we're not going to share any more documents for signatures in this loop. But I would add my sellers, right? And then I would come up and I would add from templates, and I would choose a listing packet, or if you don't have bundles or packets, then you would just upload whatever PDFs you wanted to upload. I'm going to rename my folder and call it listing folder. And we're going to simulate that these documents are all filled out and signed, okay? So obviously we would have shared these with our client with fill and sign for the ones that need to be filled out. So some documents may need fill and sign, and you may need to do a separate share on some documents that just need to be signed. So just be aware of those different privileges and understand that you can share, different groups of documents with different permissions. So let's pretend like these have all been filled out and signed. We've also made copies of these and put them on our MLS, which is, of course, a separate system. And so it's active, and we are ready to receive offers. So here's something cool that you can do in order to allow other Dotloop users to be able to find your listing on Dotloop. So step one is to set your transaction type to listing for sale, and then set your loop status to active listing, and make sure you have a property address and or an MLS number in your details section. So if you found a match using Google, then that will already be copied into your details section here. But any extra information that you can add will help other users search for your listing. So I'm going to type in a fake MLS number here, and I'm going to click Save. And then the final step is to make sure that you have that role set to listing agent. So here are the steps again. Set your transaction type to listing for sale, your loop status to active listing, your role to listing agent, and then make sure you have the property address and or MLS number in your details section. And what that does is it tells Dotloop to make it findable or searchable by other Dotloop users. And it also generates this Setup Easy Offer link. So let's talk about how this Easy Offer link works. And let me give you a couple tips on how I would suggest setting this up. So the Easy Offer link allows you to create a web page, basically, that you can send to people to make your disclosures and whatever other documents you'd like available to anyone that clicks on the link. So you wouldn't, and you set this up on a folder level basis. So you wouldn't want to necessarily make your whole listing folder available to anyone with that link, because it may have sensitive information in it, like your commission split or some other information. So what I suggest you do is add a new folder, call it your Easy Offer folder or whatever you'd like to call it, and then make a copy of your disclosures into the Easy Offer folder. So all you have to do is checkbox these two documents, say copy to, and then copy them as a Dotloop document to the same loop you're in now. So use your search bar to say 9012 Fowler Road, and we're going to copy them into the Easy Offer folder. Click copy, and now we have the exact same documents right up here in our Easy Offer folder. So now what we do is we click the Set Up Easy Offer button, and we choose to make the Easy Offer folder available through this link right here. So I'm going to copy that link and click Save, and now this Easy Offer folder says accessible via Easy Offer to the right of that listing, which means at any time if I need to get that link again, I click on that button, come down here and copy that link, and whoever I send that link to, whether it be via email or whether I post it online somewhere, whoever clicks that link or whoever receives the link from me will be taken to a view of this transaction that offers up this Easy Offer folder and these documents. So if I wanted to, I could go in and say add document from templates from my offer packet, and I could grab a blank contract and I could add that in there as well, so that whoever comes to this loop can just fill out that offer right there and quickly share it back to me right in this loop. So let me show you what it looks like for another person to click on a link that you might have sent them. Again, you could go to your inbox, you could click compose, and whoever you're going to send it to, all right, I don't know if you guys know how to make interactive links, but basically that link that you copied, once you got to your email, you would find the option that allows you to insert a link, and you would paste that Easy Offer link and press OK, and that makes it interactive so that whoever receives this in an email can simply click on it and go to that web page. So rather than send this to a fake person, I'm just going to go over to a different browser here, and I'm going to paste that link directly into the URL and press enter, and what you're going to see is it takes whoever clicks this link to this page. It is a view of your loop that only shows the documents that you want to make available. It shows you as the listing agent, and whenever this person clicks on, for example, one of these documents, it will ask them to sign in if they're already a user, or to create an account if they're a brand new user. So if I'm a brand new user and I want to insert my information here, okay. Now I have the ability to go in, view these documents. I can download these documents. I can click on this contract to purchase, and I can start writing an offer. And then when I click Save and Share, I have the ability to share this to my clients for e-signatures, or I can share and eventually I can share it right back to you, the listing agent. And what it does is it creates a new folder in your listing with that offer in it. So the Easy Offer feature is a new feature that allows you to make it easier for others to make offers on your listing. So I hope you guys will start taking advantage of that. It's simple enough. If you need more information on that, because I went kind of fast through it, go to support.dotloop.com. In the search bar, type easy, and that will bring up articles on Easy Offer. Click on the first article, and you've got a complete article with screenshots walking you through how to do that. Okay? So the next thing I want to talk about on managing our listings, we talked about sharing with fill and sign. I told you how to make your listing searchable by others. I showed you the Easy Offer feature. Now let's just reiterate using multiple folders and talk about a couple different ways that you might receive offers. So going back to our loop, we have an easy offer folder. We have our original listing folder. And we also have a new offer from Gary. That's the person who just clicked on your easy offer link and shared a contract with you. So this is how it will look when others join the loop via the easy offer and share a contract with you. So let's say that this deal with Gary falls through. What I'm going to do to keep my loop clean and manageable is archive from the right-hand side that entire folder. It'll go down, it'll disappear. If I ever need to find it again, I just click Show Archive, and then I unarchive it. Okay, but I'm going to leave that thing archived. Now let's say I'm working with another agent who doesn't use Dotloop. So they're going to send me a PDF and an email as an attachment. So how do I get that into my loop? Well, first of all, you want to create a new folder. I'm going to call this Offer from Kelly. Okay, Kelly's the agent who's sending me this PDF offer. So I create a folder to manage the documents that she shares with me. Now, she's not using Dotloop, so she's not sharing things through Dotloop, but I know that I have an offer in my inbox from her. It's right here. It says, here's our offer. And it's a PDF attachment. So it looks like one document. Maybe everything's been scanned all into one. There are two main ways to get this document into that folder so that you can use the PDF editor to drop signatures onto it. Number one is the most basic way. You can click download, and then you can go open it up and save that document to your computer, and then you can go back to Dotloop and you can say add from computer. Okay, we've already done that actually. I want to show you how to use the email in feature. So every folder of every loop has an email button. And when you click on that button, it copies this big long link to your computer's clipboard. So that's the same as you going up and highlighting text and right-clicking and saying copy, except you don't have to highlight this. We just copy it for you so that when you go to your email, you can click forward, and rather than try to forward this to a person, you're going to right-click and paste that link because that link is specific to that folder of that loop, and press send, and Dotloop will basically grab any PDF that's attached to that email so that when you go back to Dotloop, it'll be in your Offer from Kelly folder. Now, if you're new to this and you've never done it before, one common mistake that I see people do is they go back to Dotloop and then they think it didn't work, so they keep doing it over and over again. But what you need to do is reload your page. If you're toggling back and forth like I am, you got to refresh your page, and then you'll see that it's in there. So again, with the PDF editor, you just click open the PDF that you've uploaded. You've got your tools up here. Depending on your region, it might be standard practice to strike through, add the counter, and then drop an initial where your client can sign. If you need to, Shift-Alt to the right, drop 2, assign these to the proper people. All right? So going back, I want to show you one final way that you might be collaborating with others, and I know I'm over the time, so I got 1 minute before the scheduled end of this webinar, but I'm going to show you one more thing. It'll take 5 minutes, and then we'll be done. About 5 minutes ago, I gave you the 4 steps to make your listing searchable by other Dotloop users. We just showed you how you can use the easy offer feature to just send people directly, but for the other people out there using Dotloop already, there's actually a way for them to find your listings. So, and it's very similar to using the easy offer feature, but let me just take you through and explain it. So you've made your listing active by making the transaction type listing for sale, loop status active listing, your role is listing agent, and you have the property address and or the MLS number in your edit details section. So what this means is that when another agent that's using Dotloop comes in to make an offer on your listing, okay, they're going to click Create Loop, and as they start typing, so I believe it was 9012 Fowler, they're going to see you listed here, and even with the MLS number that I put in, okay, right? Not necessarily always going to be right at the top, but the more information they give the system, the more specific it will be in narrowing down those search results. So when they click on this, it's going to say, would you like a link to this listing? Which means this other person already has some information on this property on Dotloop. So I'm going to say yes and create loop. Now when I go into this loop, guess what? The Easy Offer folder is already waiting on me with the disclosures, a blank contract, and in the people section, you as the listing agent are already listed there. And what this does is it eliminates multiple loops being created on each person's account, because if Tammy were to go in and not connect her offer to your listing, then she would come into a blank loop and she would add a contract, and when she shared it with you, you would have two loops on your home page, your listing and then the one that she created to draft up the offer. And if that ever happens, there is a merge button in the details section at the bottom. So if you ever have a listing and somebody shares a loop with you and you want to put those two loops together, just go down to the merge button, and that's how you solve that. Okay? Now, the last thing that I'll show you today is on the home page. If you have a deal that falls through, for example, this listing, let's say set on the market for a while, it gets withdrawn, you can change the loop status to, well, sold or archived in this case. Let's say it sells. Okay, we move it to sold. What I can do now is set certain filters so that I don't have to see those sold or archived loops anymore. So if I'm only interested in seeing the new loops or private or active or under contract loops, okay, or pre-offer or in progress loops, when I click filter, this loop that's identified as sold will disappear. I click filter, Fowler Road's no longer here on my home page. Now if I go to my search bar and type in Fowler, you can't expect to find that. This is a different Fowler. So let's type in 9012. Okay, you can't expect to find that loop because it's hidden in your filters. So for the beginners out there, if you ever create a loop and you can't find it for whatever reason, I suggest you go to the list view, click filter, click clear all, click filter once more, and then use your search bar to type in a keyword of your loop, and there should be no reason why you can't find it. So there is no deleting a loop, there's only archiving, and along with that you need to understand how the filters work. And essentially it's choose what you want to see, everything else is hidden. If you want to see something that's hidden, go select the proper filter and click filter again, and it will show you, it will add those to your home page. Okay, so those were the extras. I already talked about copy 2. You can play with sorting on your own. This is a list of all of the features that you get with premium. So if you're a free user and you're wondering, what do I get with premium? Here's a list right here. Split and rotate PDFs that you've uploaded, email and attachment, facts from the system, add somebody to your team, the host in-person signing feature, access to the app, the ability to create clauses, the ability to create task templates, the ability to assign tasks to specific people, the ability to create your own custom PDF templates within the global template section, the ability to create folder sets, so like my offer packet and my listing packet, and the ability to save default information within those packets. And then finally, the ability to go check out that dashboard section in your global navigation bar. So I want to thank you guys all for coming today and hanging with me a little longer than we planned on. Don't forget 888-DOTLOOP is the phone number for help. Support.dotloop.com is the website to find more videos and articles.